Not fair that I'm being impeached, Donald Trump tweets on Friday night. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that it is unfair that he was being impeached as he had done no wrong and the U.S., under his leadership, was doing quite good. It's not fair that I'm being impeached when I've done absolutely nothing wrong, President Trump said in a tweet as a key congressional committee approved the 2 articles of impeachment against him. The impeachment against Donald Trump now moves to the House of Representatives, where the opposition Democratic Party enjoys a majority. Once passed by the House, the trial for impeachment would be carried out in the 100-member U.S. Senate, where President Trump's Republican Party has a majority. The radical left, do-nothing Democrats have become the party of hate. They are so bad for our country, Donald Trump said in his tweet. Earlier in the day, he described the impeachment as a hoax and politically motivated. The impeachment as hoax and politically motivated. The impeachment is a hoax. It is a sham. It started a long time ago, probably before I came down the escalator with the future First Lady. It started a long time ago, Donald Trump told reporters earlier in the day at the White House. Trump, impeachment very good for me politically. Shortly after the House Judiciary Committee voted to approve 2 articles of impeachment against him, President Donald Trump called the proceedings a scam and a hoax. Still, he said impeachment is very good for him politically. It is a witch hunt. It is a sham. It is a hoax. Nothing was done wrong. Zero was done wrong. I think it is a horrible thing to be using the tool of impeachment, which is supposed to be used in an emergency. And it would seem many years apart, he asserted. Amy Klobuchar, I will reverse Trump abortion policies in the first 100 days. The Democratic presidential candidate, who is rising in the Iowa polls, puts reproductive rights at heart of campaign. Amy Klobuchar, one of few viable women remaining in the Democratic presidential race, has vowed to reverse Donald Trump's key anti-abortion measures in her first 100 days in office were she to prevail in next year's epic battle for the White House. Klobuchar, the senator from Minnesota who is creeping up in the polls in the vital first-to-vote state of Iowa, laid out aggressive steps she would take to shore up reproductive rights were she to win the Democratic nomination and defeat Trump. In an interview with The Guardian, she said she would immediately reverse key Trump funding cuts for family planning and overturn the domestic and international gag rules that make it more difficult to access abortion information and services. She would also make abortion rights a key issue in making judicial appointments. In the first 100 days I will remove Trump's gag rules, which I can do with no need of congressional involvement, she said. I will reverse funding decisions right away, and make sure that we only nominate judges for confirmation who are consistent with the law of Roe v. Wade. Klobuchar's pledge to swiftly bolster reproductive rights echoes Trump's own actions, in the opposite direction, when he entered the White House in January 2017. One of his first acts as president was to ban by executive fiat any federal funding of international groups providing information about, or access to, abortions. Abortion is likely to be one of the hottest issues in the 2020 presidential election, in which Trump, seeking re-election on a virulent anti-abortion ticket, will face fierce resistance from the eventual Democratic nominee. To add fuel to the fire, the U.S. Supreme Court is currently hearing its first abortion case under its new Trump-appointed conservative majority. The court, now sitting with the Trump-nominated Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch, is considering in June medical services VG whether abortion doctors must have admitting privileges at local hospitals. It is expected to rule in the middle of election year. Following the withdrawal from the Democratic race of Kamala Harris earlier this month, Klobuchar is one of the only female candidates left besides Elizabeth Warren who can compete for a top-tier place. After a sticky start in which she was accused of bullying her staff, Klobuchar has been gaining traction in recent weeks in Iowa, which holds the first Democratic poll at its caucuses on the 3rd of February. The Real Clear Politics tracking poll has her in 5th place behind Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden and Warren. Trump accuses Democrats of trivializing impeachment after vote on articles. Trump spoke just about an hour after the House Judiciary Committee voted. Just about an hour after the House Judiciary Committee Friday approved 2 articles of impeachment against him, President Donald Trump accused them of trivializing the constitutional process for political gain. Before a meeting with Paraguay's president at the White House, Trump told reporters he had been working on a China trade deal but got to see enough of it. "You're trivializing impeachment, and I tell you what, someday there'll be a Democrat president and there'll be a Republican House, and I suspect they're going to remember it. Because when you do, when you use impeachment for absolutely nothing other than to try and get political gain, I think it's a horrible thing to be using the tool of impeachment, which is supposed to be used in an emergency and, it would seem, many years apart. To be using this for a perfect phone call where the president of that country said there was no pressure whatsoever, didn't even know what we were talking about, it was perfect," he said, referring to his July 25 phone call in which he pressured Ukraine's president to investigate his political rivals. Democrats accuse him of abuse of power for doing so and obstruction of Congress for blocking their efforts to find out what happened. To use the power of impeachment on this nonsense is an embarrassment to this country, Trump said. Asked if he preferred a short or long Senate trial, if impeachment made it to that body, Trump praised GOP Sens. Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell's views that a shorter trial is preferable, saying both he'd do whatever I want and whatever they want. I'll do whatever I want, Trump said. Look, we did nothing wrong. So, I'll do long or short. I've heard Mitch, I've heard Lindsey. I think they are very much in agreement on some concept. I'll do whatever they want to do, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't mind a long process, because I'd like to see the whistleblower, who's a fraud. He went on to criticize, as he often does, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Representative Adam Schiff as crooked, a corrupt politician, and a disgrace, and then mocked U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, the National Security Council Ukraine expert who listened to the July 25 call, became alarmed, and reported his concerns. Now, had I not had a transcript, I'm lucky we had this transcript, which by the way has now been verified by the Lieutenant Colonel. Lieutenant Colonel, okay? He's another beauty. Vindman was awarded a Purple Heart after being wounded by an AID while serving in Iraq. The president also said he also watched Thursday's House Judiciary Committee markup session. I got to see quite a bit of it yesterday, and that he watched these Democrats on the committee make fools out of themselves, absolute fools out of themselves. He said people are absolutely disgusted, but he was benefiting. It's a very sad thing for our country, but it seems to be good for me politically, Trump said. On Friday morning, one of the key players in the impeachment investigation, the president's personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani, was caught on camera arriving at and then leaving the White House. While it wasn't immediately clear why he was there, Trump has said Giuliani would be delivering a report to Congress and Attorney General William Barr on what he's found while in Ukraine. "I hear he has found plenty," Trump added, speaking about it last weekend. "The American people have already made up their mind on this impeachment scam," Giuliani tweeted. Donald Trump tweets 123 times in 2 hours. Tragets Media, Democrats are bitterly divided. The Judicial Committee voted on Friday to present 2 scaled-down charges against Trump to the House of Representatives for impeaching him, setting in motion a historic process. U.S. President Donald Trump made a Twitter record when he tweeted a whopping 123 times in a couple of hours against the House Judiciary Committee's decision to initiate impeachment charges against him. A bitterly divided Judicial Committee voted on Friday to present 2 scaled-down charges against Trump to the House of Representatives for impeaching him, setting in motion a historic process. The @Real Donald Trump posted a total of 123 times, including tweets and retweets, breaking a previous record. "It's not fair that I'm being impeached when I've done absolutely nothing wrong." The radical left, do-nothing Democrats have become the party of hate. "They are so bad for our country," tweeted Trump. "How do you get impeached when you have done nothing wrong? A perfect call, have created the best economy in the history of our country, rebuilt our military, fixed the VA choice, cut taxes and rigs, protected your Second A, created jobs, and so much more. Crazy." He further posted. Trump did not leave the media during his marathon tweet session. "Congratulations to @folks and friends on being named, by far, the #1 rated cable news show. CNN and MSNBC have totally tanked, their ratings are terrible. They have zero credibility." He posted. "All of our presidents would be impeached under this rogue House of Democrat leadership." The historic vote in the Judicial Committee came after 2 days of angry debate, with one marathon sitting of 14 hours on Thursday. The charges are based on Trump asking Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden while military aid to that country was pending. Trump says he sees political benefit in dragging out impeachment trial. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has been pushing for a shorter trial, with limited witnesses. Shortly after the House Judiciary Committee voted to impeach President Donald Trump, the president accused Democrats of trivializing impeachment, and said that he would like to see the impeachment process dragged out longer. "It's a very sad thing for our country, but it seems to be very good for me politically," Trump told reporters at the White House before a meeting with the president of Paraguay. He claimed the polls have gone through the roof for Trump, especially with independent voters, and especially in swing states. "I could show you numbers that nobody has ever seen numbers like this before." It was unclear what polls Trump is referring to, but in Monmouth University poll released Wednesday, 45% of Americans said Trump should be impeached and removed from office while 50% disagreed. Little changed since news of the Ukraine controversy broke. In the key swing state of Wisconsin, 40% of voters said Trump should be impeached and removed from office, versus 52% who disagree, according to a market law poll released Thursday. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has been pushing for a shorter trial, with limited witnesses, and many Republican members questioning the wisdom of having President Donald Trump call witnesses and are instead discussing a speedy resolution. But Trump said he might prefer a longer process where he calls the whistleblower to testify. "I'll do long or short. I've heard Mitch, I've heard Lindsey Graham, I think they are very much in agreement on some concept," Trump said. "I'll do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't mind the long process, because I'd like to see the whistleblower, who's a fraud, having the whistleblower called to testify in the Senate trial." But the weight of impeachment appeared to still be weighing on him. He said he watched quite a bit of the proceedings yesterday, calling the members of the media reporting on the Ukraine controversy bad people, sick people. He said Democrats are making fools of themselves, and warned of payback. "It's a scam, it's something that shouldn't be allowed, and it's a very bad thing for our country, and you're trivializing impeachment," Trump said. "And I'll tell you what. Someday, there'll be a Democrat president, and there'll be a Republican House, and I suspect they're gonna remember it." Trump has been increasingly taking his rebuttal to Twitter. After sending out a record number of tweets on Thursday, his tweet storm continued on Friday morning with praise for the Republican warriors who defended him in the House Judiciary Committee meetings, and criticism of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The Republicans' House members were fantastic yesterday. "It always helps to have a much better case. In fact, the Dems have no case at all, but the unity and sheer brilliance of these Republican warriors, all of them, was a beautiful sight to see. Dems had no answers and wanted out," Trump tweeted. The president went on to tweet Friday a boast about his poll numbers, called the impeachment case against him a total hoax and claimed that Pelosi had admitted yesterday that she began this scam 2.5 years ago. At the White House later, he said the impeachment effort had started a long time ago, probably before I came down the escalator with the future First Lady to announce his presidential run in 2015. The claims were based on a mischaracterization of comments Pelosi made about impeachment earlier this week. At an event Tuesday afternoon at Politico's Women Rule Summit, Pelosi was asked to react to the criticism that Democrats are racing through their impeachment inquiry of the president. "It's been going on for 22 months, 2.5 years actually," Pelosi said initially. She then made clear she was referring to the Mueller investigation. "Hey guys, we need your help. Please subscribe this channel. We shall always be grateful for your kindness. Thanks. Have a great time ahead." And yeah, we share daily news of Donald Trump.